Welcome back to r/Neighbors from Hell, where people share stories about their crazy neighbors. And if you are new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe to join our amazing community. And without any further ado, let's dive right into the stories. And today's XXL story is titled "Rich Psychotic Neighbor Doesn't Get Free Rent and Then Threatens to Murder Me." Big Boy posts, sorry for the long read, this is a story I couldn't help but share. After reading about other people's stories of awful, disrespectful and straight up crazy Karens on multiple subreddits, I felt that I had to share this with all of you. It is important to this story for me to point out that I am slightly autistic, and back then I was a lot more affected by my social anxiety. Anyways, to the story. This all started a little over 4 years back when our new neighbors moved in. They were a married couple from Norway, and it is common for Norwegians to work in their home country to then live in Sweden, since housing is a lot cheaper in comparison. Well guys, go from crazy expensive to only slightly expensive. Anyway, so they got the house next to ours since our old neighbors wanted to live in the city instead. In the beginning they were nice enough, like to have a chat when we walked by. It was quite lovely to have some new people out here on the countryside. One day, however, the wife of the pair, the infamous choosing beggar CB, asked my mom if she could rent some of our land so her horses could have more space. Our land was maybe 4 times as large as theirs, since their home didn't come with a lot of property, so we figured, why not? We put the rent on a really low price since they lived next door to us, and that way our land would be cared for since we didn't really use it. CB then proceeded to ask us if we could put up all the fence since she and her hubby would be working that weekend, and we really wanted it to be done this weekend. My mom politely declined and they talked about other stuff. That was the first red flag that we ignored. We did end up helping out a little though, but hey, some small coin and not having to mow the field sounded good to us. Oh boy, were we in for a ride. As I mentioned, we put the rent on a very low price of $200 or 2,000 Swedish crowns a year, or $20 per month for however much land they wanted to use. We had about 1,700 square meters in total. As long as they didn't fence up our house, we didn't really care. We love animals, so the thought of having 4-legged love bugs on our backyard was nice. Before deciding anything, my mom asked me how I felt about it, since she didn't want to potentially do something that would be a big change or too much impression for me at once. Don't have enough words to describe how much I love my mom for considering my feelings like that. Of course I said yes. However, despite the low rent, months went by and they didn't pay us once. They put up the fence pretty much the same day we made the deal, but time went by and we didn't see a penny. My mom figured she could politely ask how they wanted to pay the rent since it was 20 per month or 200 per year. Mom, hey, what's up? Just wanted to ask about the rent for the land. It's been a while, so I figured maybe you guys decided to pay the yearly rent in August. Let me know. Choosing beggar wife.
Oh yeah, we were gonna pay the year rent in August. Should have told you, sorry.
Mom, alright then, just wanted to check. You have a lovely day now. Cheers. Insert heart emoji. We figured that this would be the end of it. We like to think the best of people, so we let it go and went back to our own business. August came and left, still no money came. Mom did not want to come across greedy or rude, so she waited for another month before saying anything. But at some point she wanted to text my neighbor and at least ask about it. Maybe they just forgot. It's been 7 months after all. Mom, hi, just wanted to check in regarding the rent for the land. Last month you were supposed to pay the yearly rent, but nothing came in. Do you think you can resolve it by this upcoming paycheck? My mom knows how tough it can be before payday, so she can be more patient than a saint. CB,
oh yeah, we totally forgot, haha, just give me until payday.
Mom, okay, no problem. The payday came and guess what? Nothing again. Thing is, this wouldn't really bother us if they just had a tight income, but the wife was rich as frick. She made a buttload of money in a mere weekend, so we didn't really understand why $20 was too much to ask. This went on and on and on, and mom nagged and they came with excuses, yet no money came in. Mom is a single mother of 3 kids. I was included in kids as then I wasn't 18 yet, and my pregnant sister lived with us, and mom works as a sub-nurse within elder tender care. Another $200 a year would have been helpful. This was where my mom, older sister and I started to grow irritated. Now it had been 1.5 years and had not seen a cent of the rent, yet her horses and fence remained on our property, while CB gave us a big smile while tending to her horses. With time we started to notice a few things about our dear sweet neighbors. They never paid for anything ever. Electricity was cut off for the numerous times, internet was removed a few times, hoofsmiths, I don't know what they are called in English, never received their pay and so on. Also, we believe they had an unhealthy relationship with alcohol. More and more often, strangers knocked on our door looking for our neighbors, saying that they haven't paid for any form of service for months and need to get a hold of them. Once again, this was weird since both of them made good money. If this was not bad enough, they always wanted to borrow stuff from us. Money, wine, mostly wine, general stuff, and would even ask us to look after their horses when they were at work in Norway. Of course we helped because we didn't want the poor babies to suffer because their owners were being choosing beggars. It didn't take too long until we got to see the large amount of crazy the wife possessed in her rotten cigarette-poisoned soul. The cops came to their house and she was livid, kicking, screaming, spitting and more. Apparently the husband accused CB of having been abusive towards his daughter, he had her with his ex, and she turned full psycho and called the cops on him, who according to the officers were calm the whole time. What a way to prove her innocence. The cops had to hold her back until the husband could get the F out of there. He didn't come back and they filed for divorce just a few days later. CB kept the house and the horses. We checked up on her since we didn't know the full story. I think she accused him of having an affair with a younger woman, but I'm not sure. But we supported her. It is not easy having a spouse leave you with a lot of responsibility, so we gave her the benefit of the doubt. Wrong choice. And by the way guys, I would just like to note that so far at least OP and her family seems way too nice. And unfortunately guys, as it often goes in life, these kind people often get exploited by horrible neighbors or horrible people in general, like the neighbor Karen in this story. Anyway, if you have watched until here, please don't forget to post some star emojis in the comments and maybe even like the video if you want to support the channel. Thank you so much in advance, and now let's get right back into the story. After that, everything went south. CB started having outbursts, still refused to pay rent, and even her dogs started acting up. One of them even bit my younger sister, she was 9, and if she hadn't been wearing a thick winter jacket, she could have been hurt really bad. Even with the jacket on, she had bruises for almost 2 weeks. But of course CB chose to blame a 9-year-old for the whole incident. Later, we also found out for sure that she was addicted to alcohol as well as gambling, which is why she was always broke despite the money she made. Another 1.5 years pass and mom kept asking her to pay the rent. She never did. Mom gave her one final warning, but she wouldn't budge. CB was now owing us $600, all because she refused to pay $20 out of her $5,000 or more paycheck. So she kept renting but always gave us attitude whenever the topic of paying for it came up. At this point they gave a lot of clear,
I make a lot of money, so I don't have to pay for anything
vibes. Then my sister finally had enough. She couldn't stand seeing my mom being used like this anymore by this crazy grunt. So she put on some gloves, a pair of boots, walked outside and started taking down the fence. My sister asked me if I wanted to join in on the fun, but I was too anxious. So instead I stayed inside to enjoy the view of my older, visibly pregnant sister laugh like a villain and take down the fence with the biggest grin I ever did see. Without breaking the fence, of course. Lo and behold, out of the house next door marches a screaming banshee towards my sister, shouting every profanity she could come up with. Once CB reached my sister, she started pushing her and tried to start a fight with her, despite clearly seeing that she was pregnant. I was in shock, so I didn't think of taking any pictures or film the whole ordeal. I was concerned for my sister's safety, but was too scared to go outside. My sister saw me through the window and gestured at me to stay inside. And then my calm breeze of a sister wouldn't give CB the pleasure of giving any aggression back, so she calmly and politely stated that violence wouldn't be beneficial for any of them. CB:
"You effing witch, I'm gonna stab you. No wonder your man left you. Stop touching my stuff or I will call the police, you witch."
Sister smiles: CB, do you truly believe that shouting rude words will resolve anything? Come now, let's go inside, have a cup of tea and talk about this like adults, okay? CB:
"How dare you talk to me like this? I'm gonna call the police, you filthy girl."
Sister: please feel free, there's no need to shout. If you want to call the police, feel free. However, for your own benefit, you might want to calm down before calling to avoid any misunderstanding. After a few minutes of this exchange, CB marched back home, still screaming, and slammed her own door to her house behind her. Surprise, surprise, the cops never came. It is what she always threatened with whenever people didn't do as she pleased. My sister came inside again and we both sighed at the person next door who were everything but a reasonable adult and made ourselves some tea. Not long after this, one of our dogs escaped and ran outside without any one of us knowing. We have a wolf dog who was then only a puppy, not a full-grown dog. A puppy, very curious woofer, and wouldn't take any chance to run out of the house and sniffle on anything she could find. Unfortunately, little to our knowledge, she learned how to open the door and quietly snuck out. So there I was, watching a show on my computer by my desk. It was located around a corner and a few small steps from my front door, so I had no way of seeing Doggo escape despite being on the same floor. Then I heard some mumbled noises that came closer by the second, and suddenly the front door to our house flew open. Of course it was CB who stormed into my house without permission and started screaming at me. I cannot handle confrontations at all, so I just froze in pure panic and could not even move. Didn't take many seconds before I started crying. She was in my house without anyone's consent to be there, red in the face, yelling like a crazy person, and started banging her fists against the walls or whatever was closest. We are lucky that she didn't destroy anything or actually hurt anyone during her fit. CB:
"How effing dare you? Your dog is killing my horses. I'm gonna beat you to death, you hear me? You're not gonna take another effing breath."
I was shaking and was completely powerless. I mean, if anyone was capable of killing anyone, she definitely was. Luckily, my older sister was home and rushed down the stairs to see what was going on. She saw CB and then me being scared, so my sister went into protect family until death mode. She stepped in between us, shielding me like a mama bear, and told CB to get the F out of our house and show us what was so wrong that she somehow was entitled to commit crimes on our property. And if she didn't leave, she would do whatever it took to get her out of our house and wasn't afraid to use force if needed. Pregnant belly and all. The banshee stopped in slight shock of my sister's new attitude towards her, but quickly resumed screaming and went outside to show us the crime scene. She kept threatening us the whole way there and scared the living crap out of her horses while doing so. We got there in like a minute, but the crazy part was that our murderous pupper was not even anywhere near the horses. Kira, as our puppy is called, was running around in the wheat fields quite a bit far away from the horses or rolling on the grass while nibbling the air. Then we checked the horses, but none of them was hurt, just stressed from her screaming. So CB stormed into my house and threatened to murder me for literally no reason. We called mom afterwards all of this and she officially had enough. I filed a complaint to the police, so her behavior is documented on the police register. I hate to admit it, but that treat hit me harder than I first thought, and it affected me for months to come. I was shaking in fear every time I walked past her house and would occasionally cry thinking about it. I never thought I would feel so unsafe and vulnerable in my own home, and now physically I'm a strong person. A broken bone or rolling down stairs don't bother me, but confrontations break me down like nothing else, so this day had me effed up. Especially since it came so suddenly with a lot of impact. I should note that our pooch was okay though. We gave her a good checkup in case that nightmare of a person might have hurt her, but she was fine. Later that afternoon, CB left for work, Mom came home and we all helped taking down the fence and gently leading the horses to her own property, making sure they were fed and wouldn't escape anywhere. Property secured and love bugs safe. We received more profanities for a while afterwards through text but ignored them. When CB came back and saw what we had done, she texted my mom about it. CB:
"What the hell is wrong with you people? Hello, hello? Answer me. How dare you people treat me like this, you effing peasants? I make more money than you could even dream of."
My mother, being herself, did not really feel guilty about taking away the rich lady's free benefits. Mom calmly replied: "Then pay the rent." CB:
"How dare you, you stupid witch? You cannot treat me like this. I'm gonna call the cops on you and tell them you stole my stuff and hurt my animals."
Mom: "Do it, I will make some coffee for them." CB:
"F you."
Mom sends heart emoji. CB blocked her. We all had a good laugh. We found out just a few months later that she tried to sell the house but nobody wanted it. She wanted way too much for it and the entire house smelled like cigarettes and had some yellow marks on the walls. So no luck there. Time went on and we saw her less and less. We thought nothing of it and moved on with our lives. The less we saw her face, the better. But one day when walking our dogs, we saw this random dude by the Staples and decided to say hi. We didn't recognize him and figured that maybe it is someone CB asked to help her with the horses while she was in Oslo. But nope, it was better. Turned out he was our new neighbor. Apparently we were not the only people she owed money to. She ended up being in so much debt to so many services and such that the bank took her house. So she had to move her trashy butt back to Norway. We could barely believe it. We never have to see her again and we got a nice new neighbor who seemed to be pretty cool so far. This calmed my anxiety down so much I cannot even describe it. I was afraid to be in my own home for so long. I even had trouble sleeping at night because I was afraid she would hurt me or my family. But that fear is long gone. My anxiety is much better and I feel safe again. We of course never got the money, but not having CB around anymore is absolutely priceless. I wish I had the writing skills to end this story in a good way, but I hope you enjoyed my story. I guess my message is, don't be nobody's bitch, and if somebody starts acting up, make sure to record it. Thank you for reading. Edit: adding some details Mom pointed out when talking about it and changing things that I was unclear with. Update: okay, so today my mom was on her way home from work and she saw that our new neighbor was out and decided to stop and talk to him. Before she even had time to utter a hello, he saw her, said to my mom, "Oh hi, hey, did you see the cops here today?" Mom was a bit confused but replied, "Hello, no, I've been at work most of the day so far. Why?" Apparently the cops had come to knock on his door earlier that day and asked where CB was. He told them he didn't know and asked what it was all about. It turns out about 20 people in our small area had come together and reported CB to the police for fraud and they needed to find her. This lady has managed to piss off a mob of people and local business owners who were sick of her BS and wanted their money. Seems like we were not the only people CB tried to screw over by attempting to eel herself out of it. Looks like that is over. He made sure to apologize to Mom because he didn't fully believe her when she told him about CB and all she had done. Of course, Mom told him there were no hard feelings and asked for more gossip regarding the police visit and about CB. It also turned out that she owed someone else in Oslo over $10,000 for horse training. Apparently the ones who wanted to sue her pleaded a good case, had some proof to back up their stories, and now the authorities are looking for her so they can take her to court. They had hoped that new neighbor knew where she was or how to find her to make the arrest easier. He told him that he had no idea and they had to look elsewhere. The search continues, but I will be sure to update if I hear anything else. Me and Mom are eagerly awaiting more news. But guys, unfortunately, no matter how hard I tried in contacting people who might know about this story, there have been no further updates to this story, but I would still say that this is a more or less happy ending because OP finally got rid of this awful neighbor. And guys, unfortunately, we have already reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories, and if you haven't already, please also go to patreon.com/ripeyoutube, where I upload exclusive Reddit videos starting at just $3 a month. This is a great way to support me in case you are interested, and the chance for me to become independent from YouTube revenue. Thank you so much for watching, please don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.